Welcome back to Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. This one is entitled LazerTel. Okay, the details on this one are very, very rough around the edges, and I don't know a lot of them. I'm not going to bullshit you the details, but I'm going to put in what I feel was probably correct. This is going to date back to around, let's say, a good 1992, 1993, maybe as late as 1995, but probably almost without a doubt not beyond that. It couldn't have been beyond that because my sister graduated from high school in 95. I graduated in 97. I'm 2 years younger. So 1995 at the latest, but could have been as early as 92. Let's think about the state of computers at the time. In 1995, Windows 95 came out. That was a breakthrough operating system compared to the previous one, which was Windows 3.1. It had this thing called the Start button. You know what that is? Yeah, it's sort of still around today in one form or another, kinda. Although with this Windows 11 shit, when they said 10 was going to be the last version, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's really time to jump ship. But anyways, that was the deal. The state of computers, we didn't have MP3s. If you had a computer in 1995 and you were lucky, this was like a Pentium 75 megahertz. I have found that in general, under Windows, if you're going to play an MP3, you need at least 133 megahertz processor. This was getting more into the 1998, Windows 98 era, and somewhere in the Windows 98 days, CD burners started coming on the scene for obscene prices. I seen what I did there. They were coming on, you know, for $400, $300, $250, $200, then maybe $150, and now you can get a DVD burner for $20 if you even can find one anymore. You know, they've come down tremendously in price. First CD burner I bought was an HP CD writer that ran at 10x. Ooh, that was fast, because the common speed at the time was 4x, which would allow you to burn a music CD at about 20 minutes or so, plus or minus a couple minutes for finalization and everything else. So it took about 20 minutes to burn a music CD, which you would then bring to your car and pop in the CD player, and we just played CDs. But then somewhere in the mix here, MP3s came on the scene. So bear all of that in mind. So going back again to the 92 to 95 days, my sister, this all has to do with my sister, was in some class in high school where they had a project they had to do, and they had to create a product. Now, this was not a real product, it was a product idea. And they would have to pitch the product, sell the product, kind of write up a little sales pitch for it, draw a picture of it on oak tag or something like that, what it might, you know, represent to look like, or something like that. And she and her friend, who, because two people would collaborate on this project, so they would get graded like that. She and her friend, I don't remember her name, said they came up with this idea for something called LazerTel. And she said to me, I need help with it. I said, okay, well, like, what do you want it to, like, what's the premise of it? What does it do? It plays music. Okay, I mean, you can get a tape deck that plays music, you can get a radio that plays music. What's special about it? What does it do? Well, laser, I said, oh, well, you know, it's got to take CDs then, because CDs use lasers. She said, oh, good, okay. So she's like writing this down or making mental notes or something. And I said, what would you want it to do? Because this is a product that didn't exist and wasn't going to exist for years. But basically what I'm getting at with this is she, her friend, and I foreshadowed what was going to become of the music industry in the future. Really something. Basically, this was some sort of box. It was kind of modeled after, they had, I don't know if they still do have, they had these like Sony CD carousel players that kind of worked on the jukebox principle. If you remember an old jukebox with 45 RPM records, and the arm would come and pop the record out, put it on the record player, the needle would go on, it would play that, and that was the song you got for a dime, you know? And then the record would go back, and you could program other songs, and it was all mechanical and crazy shit like that. So it was sort of like a jukebox kind of thing, but it did more. The premise was that it would have a thing that would take like 50 CDs, so your existing music collection that you had on CD, you pop them in the machine. And everything's there. And then I guess there was a way. Oh, there was a keyboard, like a computer keyboard that you could plug into it. Wasn't wireless in these days. I mean infrared, but how far are you going to go? There was a keyboard that would plug into this thing, and you could type in the album and the name of all of the songs. There was no internet connectivity, no dial-up and shit like that. It didn't have any, we didn't know this stuff was going to exist then. But you would be able to type in the name of your songs and the album and whatever it is, and then if you would leave the keyboard connected to it and you wanted to hear a song, you could type in the name of the song or the artist, and it would give you a list on the screen. And you could select the song, hit it, and it would know where to move the carousel to, and pull the CD out, put it on the player, go to track 5, which was that one, and play that song for you. Well, that sort of sounds like your collection of MP3s now, doesn't it? You want a song, you could search right in Windows through your whole list of songs, type in the name of the song, here you go, double click, bam, it's playing. Huh! We foreshadowed that this was going to be possible. Another thing the machine did is not only could you enter all of that stuff in, but it also had onboard storage of some kind. The details of how this worked and anything like that were undisclosed because, again, it was a hypothetical product, and while technically possible in the day, it would require some pretty beefy hardware. And this would be a really expensive device for it to do that. You would need essentially a whole computer system with a dedicated processor, RAM, and gobs and gobs and gobs of fucking storage space. And back in the Windows 95 days, if you had a 4 gigabyte drive, you were king shit. That was a big drive for those days. 4 gigabytes. You can get a flash drive that's 32 gigabytes for under $10 these days. But 25, 26, 27, 28 years ago, that would have cost a fucking fortune. In fact, flash drives didn't really even exist in the form that we know them now, and USB didn't even exist, as we know it today. It just wasn't around. And all three of us dreamt this up. They sort of subcontracted this with me because I knew of the technical aspects and shit, and what might theoretically be possible. Pardon, I got a phone call. Sorry about that. Had to get the phone. It was my dad, and that was that. Anyways, that was pretty much the story of LazerTel. How this device would be able to take all of your CDs. It had a screen on it, just a small little like LCD screen or vacuum fluorescent, really. And you could program in using a keyboard your albums, name of songs. It had onboard storage and could store the music, so you could put a CD in there. It You would offload it to the machine, and you could take it out and still have 50 more CDs in the thing, in the carousel for, you know, stuff on actual CD like that, if there wasn't enough storage on it or something, because like I said, all of this was hypothetical, but between the three of us, we basically foreshadowed what would become of the music industry way back in the day. It was all technologically possible at the time, without a doubt, but again, the killers were going to be processing power and storage, and these days there's plenty of all of that to go around, and then there's bloatware and it slows everything down to a crawl anyways. But anyway, that was the story of LazerTel. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.